Thursday of quarter 1, week 7. Number 1 is 15 times the quantity. 2/5 plus 1 1/3 plus 3. There are two ways you can do it. You can start by doing the distributive property, or I can add what's inside the parentheses first. I want you guys to get used to using the distributive property, so I'm going to take 15 times 2/5. So that becomes 15 over 1 times 2 over 5. Reduce by 5, that becomes a 3, this becomes a 1. So 3 times 2 is 6, and it's over 1, so it's just still 6. Then I distribute the 15 to the 1 1/3, so it'd be 15 over 1 times, now 1 1/3 we need to change to an improper fraction, which would be 1 times 3 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4/3. Reduced by 3, that becomes a 5, this becomes a 1. 5 times 4 is 20. Bring down that plus sign, so it's 6 plus 20, and then don't forget about this plus 3. So 6 plus 20 plus 3 makes 29 is your final answer.
I could have done that, but it's difficult.
Number 2. Oh, if I would have done what's in the parentheses first, let me show you that example. If I would have done it like so. 2/5 plus 1 1/3, you would write it up and down. When I'm adding fractions with different denominators, I have to find a common denominator. What would be the common denominator for 5 and 3?
15.
Okay. So I times it by 3, times it by 3, and I get 6/15. Times this by 5 over 5, and I get 5/15. So that becomes 11/15, and then bring down the 1 whole. So then it's 11/15 times 15. Again, you need to change your mixed number to an improper fraction, so that would be 15 plus 11 is 26.
Yeah.
15 times 26/15. This 15's over 1.
Hold on one.
So the 15's cancel each other out. So it's just 26, and then add the 3, and you get 29. Number 2. Says John has painted 4/5 of his house. The next day he painted 2/3 of what he had left. What fraction of the house is left to paint? So if I painted 4/5, how much did I not paint?
1/5.
1/5, because I subtract 5/5, because that's a whole, minus 4/5 is 1/5. So I did not paint 1/5 of it. And then it says 4/5 or 2/3 of what he had left. So I need to do 2/3 of that. So I write 2/3 of 1/5. Of means to multiply. So then 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 5 is, and there's your final answer. I said that you could skip number 3. It said to find the median, which means middle, of the data set below. We have some that are fractions and some that are decimals. What you need to do is change them all to decimals, or all having the same common denominator. That would be harder. So I just made them all a decimal. So a -12/4 becomes a -3. 18/5 is 3 6/10. -2/5 just stays -2/5. 1/5 is 0.2, and 10 is 10. Then I put them in order: a -3, -2.5, 0.2, 3, 3.6, and then 10, and then you cross them off and find the number that's in the middle. Going on to number 4. -3 times the quantity, x minus 5 equals 45. draw your line. What property do I have to use? What property? So a -3 times x is a -3x. A -3 times a -15 is a +15 equals 45. Box in your x. We don't want to move him. So what are we going to move? 15 minus 15 minus 15. They cancel each other out, so I'm left with a -3x equals 45 minus 15 is 30. Box your x. It doesn't move. Divide by a -3, divide by a -3. So now x equals 30 divided by 3 is 10, and one of them is negative, so it's going to be a -10.
I got 53. Yeah, we did the like actual.
There's only one way to do that problem.
Yeah, I did it like actual.
5 says to find the greatest common factor of 18xy and 32xyz. So you want to find the greatest common factor of 18 and 32 first. What is the greatest common factor of those two? It's only 2. 32 can't be divided by 9. So the greatest common factor of this would be 2xy.
I just did the whole.
Problem before I got it a different way.
What did you do?
I boxed up in the parentheses and then just did 3 divided by 3, and then I
Oh.
did the other side, and then I did.
So you did, okay, so this is what you're saying.
Because the parentheses.
You divided by a -3, divided by a -3. So now you have x minus 5 equals, what is that? -15. Then you added 5, x equals a, sure,
Yeah.
yep.
That's an easier way.
Good job, Carter.
I honestly thought either I was a miracle man or I did my math so wrong.
Alright, number 6.
That way.
A rectangle has a perimeter. Okay, you have to write down a formula for the perimeter of the rectangle. Perimeter equals 2 of the lengths plus 2 of the widths. It tells us what the perimeter is. It says it's the quantity 12x plus 8y. So I write that 12x plus 8y equals, and I get one of the lengths, so it's 2 times quantity 4x minus 2y. Then I have to bring down the plus 2w. If you see it now, we have 3 different letters. We have an x, we have a y, and we have a w.
That means you can't add it.
We're gonna start by doing the distributive property. I'm gonna just leave this 12x plus 8y equals. Now we're gonna distribute the 2. 2 times 4 is 8. X, 2 times a -2 would be a -4. Y plus 2w. Draw my line. I'm going to connect my x's, but they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. I'm just gonna bring this x over here. So I'm going to subtract 8x, subtract 8x. That cancels those out, and 12 minus 8 is
4.
so I have 4x plus 8y equals a -4y plus 2w. I want to combine now my y's. I'm gonna get my y over here to the left, because I'm trying to find out what this w equals. So I'm going to add 4y to both sides. Those cancel each other out. I still have the 4x. Now it's 8 plus 4. So now I have 12y equals 2w. Sorry, guys. Then I'm going to get rid of my, now I'm going to box up my w, because that's what I want to find. So I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2. When I'm dividing this side by 2, you are taking 4 divided by 2, which would be 2x, and 12 divided by 2, which would be 6y. Those canceled each other out, so it's 2x plus 6y equals w. I'm going to skip number 7. But we are going to do number 8.
Should we write skip on 7?
You can write skip on 7. A negative 5p minus 8p equals a negative 6 minus 7p. We've got p's all over the place. We are going to combine, oops, draw my line, hello. Always draw that line. I'm gonna combine a negative 5 and a negative 8. What does that become? Negative 13p equals a negative 6 minus 7p. I want my letters to be on one side. If I move this p over, I have nothing on the left side. So I've got to move this p over to the left. So I'm going to add 7. Add 7. So 13 minus 7 is 6, but it's going to stay negative, so I have a negative 6p equals, those cancel each other out, negative 6. I don't want to move the p. This is like multiplying, so I'm going to divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6, so now p equals negative 6 divided by negative 6 is 1. Glad you